But I think that's really unfortunate because there is so rich a Revolutionary War history here in New York City. I mean, many people think of Boston, Philadelphia, Virginia as centers for Revolutionary War history, but I think that New York is as interesting, if not more so, than either of those places. And hopefully I'll be able to convince you of that by 6 o'clock this morning. I can tell you that on the root of one reason I say that is that two of the most important battles in the American Revolution were fought here in New York State. Does anyone know what they were? The Battle of Brooklyn. And even more importantly, the most important battle in the American Revolution, in my opinion, was the Battle of Saratoga. And I think that was fought upstate. Now, there are three very significant Revolutionary War generals who were buried on the route of our tour. One is Richard Montgomery, who was the leader of the fight against Canada in the Battle of Quebec. Unfortunately, he was killed there, and he was he died in December 31st, 1775, and he was the first person to whom Congress ordered that a monument, a federal monument, be made. And we'll see that monument on the route of our tour. Another was Alexander Hamilton. Hamilton was very important and led one of the key charges at Yorktown at the end of the war. He was a key aide to George Washington. He also was the Secretary of the Treasury, obviously. So Hamilton's also buried. I think you probably will know where he is. It's a Trinity Church graveyard in Orange. But to me, the most interesting general on the route of our tour is the general who was in charge at the most important battle, Saratoga. Does anyone know who that was? No. People who haven't been on the tour before. By the way, Mr. Berman has been on the tour 4 times. General Gates, Horatio Gates. General Gates was the winning general at the Battle of Saratoga, and I'm going to talk extensively about it. In fact, by 6 o'clock, by 5 o'clock in the morning, you'll certainly know more about Horatio Gates, hopefully, than you ever did before, maybe more than you want to know. But anyhow, he's the centerpiece of this tour. Let me tell you where we go, and then I'll start you might say, the formal tour. We start here at right by the west side of City Hall, where I'm going to talk about New York before the Revolution for about maybe 10 or 15 minutes. And then we're going to walk up around Chambers Street. We're going to stop at the Surrogates Court. The Surrogates Court is one of the great buildings in this city, as is City Hall and the Municipal Building. Anyhow, I'm going to go past the Surrogates Court. That's kind of out of, I'll talk about the Battle of Lexington and Concord, the Battle of Bunker Hill. And then I'm going to go into, I'll talk about Thomas Paine. Now, we're going to visit, how many of you know, well, I assume you know who Thomas Paine is, but there's one park in New York City that's dedicated to Thomas Paine. How many of you know where it is? Okay, all right. Don't spoil the one.
I think I know.
All right, we will visit on this tour in about an hour, Thomas Paine Park, okay? From there, I'm going to go back down to the Civic Center area. I'm going to talk about Nathan Hale. I don't know how many of you know. How many of you have ever heard of Nathan Hale? Everybody's heard of Nathan Hale, of course. I spoke, by the way, at the museum, as you may have seen, on Nathan Hale this year, and I have new material on Nathan Hale, which is an interesting figure, interesting figure. Then I'm going to give what I call the July 4th history of New York, using the 3 buildings, the Surrogates Court, the City Hall, and the Civic Center. And I'm going to go as extensively as I can get into it time-wise, the history basically of the city of New York up until about 1940. It's kind of a tall order, so we'll see that. But I think these 3 buildings really illustrate what happened after the Revolution in New York. Then I'm going to go to St. Paul's Chapel. St. Paul's Chapel is a building whose meaning has changed, which has changed dramatically in the 15 years I've been giving this tour. It's not changed, it's not been renovated, but as I'm going to explain, and I have an article in the packet here that I wrote for the American Spirit, the DAR's publication, its meaning has changed. I find that interesting. Anyhow, from there we're going to have a break to, I might say a lunch break or a mid-morning break. You can also go to the bathroom at a place called the Seaport Cafe. Now I don't make any representation as to the epicureal quality of the Seaport Cafe, except that it's open at 4 in the morning. That's important. And from there, we will go to, I will discuss what to me is the centerpiece of the tour, how the Americans won the American Revolution. And it focuses very heavily on General Horatio Gates. From there, I'll go to the Evacuation Day flagpoles. Well, maybe you know where they are. Good. You'll find out. And then I go to, we'll end at Fraunces Tavern, where you can have breakfast at the restaurant. Okay, so that's the plan of the tour. Maybe I should let me walk up a little bit, and then I'll start the, you might say, the formal part of the tour.